Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Jim and Rob Overanalyze the Movies. And who do we have with us tonight? The one, the only, Mr. Jim Klaboyko. Let's hear it out there for him.
I prefer to be called Yim. Just kidding.
Well, that's wonderful for you.
I'm trying to do a name thing with every different movie, so
well,
we'll see how long that lasts.
All right, Yim. I'll run with that for about 5 minutes. Well, you know what? Before we get to our hot takes, I know I've got a hot one. Why don't Jim? Do you got a log line for us? I mean,
yeah, I do. Shoot. God, I hate Danes. They're the worst.
Apparently, they are.
With their dark hair and bad dental work, and mixing up Norwegian and Finnish, like the sort of the beauty.
Well, wait. Okay, for those who haven't seen the flick yet, I would say the basic log line. It really is the princess of the realm, Princess Kristin. Her parents have been, put under a timeless sleep. They're for all intents and purposes dead. But so her and her suitor of sorts, Espen Ashlad, head off to the Golden Castle to get this water of life to see if they can't save them. There's basically the movie in a nutshell.
Sorry, I should have answered you straight the first time. But,
No, I thought that was fine.
I just wanted to get that Danish thing off my chest.
I think that would be more the tagline, though. So you got the log line, folks. Maybe what I'll do is let's play these tunes right down, and what I'll do is I'll put up the. Jim, I'm going to throw up the YouTube trailer. Sure. This is the one the director put out. And after that, you've had your hot take. I'm throwing mine in right after that. Okay, sure. So here's the trailer.
God dag. Det sies at du har vært i Soria Moria slott.
Nei, det var gamlefar. Han der inne.
Oi. Hei. Det du som gamlefar?
Lenger inn.
Det du som Men
Gamlefar!
Hei. Har du vært i Soria Moria slott?
Ja. Far min.
Kom igjen!
Han henger på veggen der borte. Hallo?
Hei. Vi bare lurer på om du visste veien til Soria Moria.
Soria Moria mi?
Soria Moria.
Soria Moria. Østen for sol og vesten for måne.
Okie dokie, there we go. There's that is about the best, I actually got that, Jim, and everyone out there. And speaking of which, a couple of shout outs before we really get into it. Mr. Yelly Duck, it's great to see you too.
Yelly Duck. That's the Scandinavian pronunciation.
Yeah. Yes, our friend from Kuwait is back. I believe, from what I gathered, I actually checked out one of his live streams. It's he's actually although he's in Kuwait, I believe his first name is Ahmed, but I might be mispronouncing that. I hope I got it right. Jelly Duck. That trailer is how it should have been. Dubbing. I'm not the biggest fan of dubbing anyway. Do I detest bad dubbing? A curse twice, thrice a curse on crap dubbing. Yeah, what a terrible dubbing job. And it was really hard to actually finish the thing. I found it painful. And worse than that, because I'd watched the first one, the Ashlad and the, goes to the Troll Mountain King, in the land of the Troll Mountain King, I believe that's what it was called, where it was not dubbed. You could get the dubbed version, but otherwise you could just hear the Norwegian soundtrack complete and subtitles. I was really kind of like, wow, this is so bad. And it really does. I think that is a point where you really, you really do see the benefit of all of the production, Good Lord, it was awful.
Richard and Katie are chiming in.
Yeah. Actually, Ahmed, this one, we're not doing the Troll Mountain King, which did come out. It is a 2017 film. We're doing the In Search of the Golden Castle, which actually came out in the fall of 2019. And it was painful. Painful, my friend.
According to Variety, it's actually was set up initially to be a trilogy. So there's probably going to be a third installment, and depending on COVID-related financing issues and things like that. But and that was an older article too. So,
Hey, Richard and Katie, good to see you guys. Good to see you guys here. Jelly Duck. What I'm whining about is what they did is the dubbing, the audio of all the actors was dubbed with other actors in English, which I'm not philosophically opposed to dubbing. It has its place, if I'm blind, dubbing is key, right? Descriptive audio but good dubbing, wow, there's a community that is underserved. Shock of shocks. Able-bodied white man tunes in. Hashtag woke ? Woke, maybe.
No,
so,
I mean,
and it was just a bad dubbing job.
But it's I made a note here also about the casting, like the casting the people to dub. Like sometimes you have voices that are probably more typical. It almost sounded like a bunch of folks that had done radio commercials, kind of. And I think you really miss the idiosyncratic, different kind of voices. Like even in that clip that you just played, the trailer, which was sort of like an extended scene with some trailery bits. And it actually didn't strike me. I knew at the end of the movie, where they have a song in Norwegian playing over the credits, and you think, boy, I felt, and this is just me, I felt sort of ripped off in a way, because you miss those. Yes. The great thing about watching The Wave a couple of weeks ago was just that and it's a very what's the word? It's a very it's a particular language, the rhythm of the language, I guess I'm trying to say.
I'm not saying
it adds something to it when you're watching a porn movie.
Every language has a sing song, a rhythm, a melody. And I agree with you completely. You miss all of that. But going back to your radio thing, I think, and I hope for next week's show, he couldn't do it tonight, an internet, but an actual professional voiceover professional voice actor, has done character work like for anime and video games and dubbing. Unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, but first of all, let's all good, brother. But I think in this case, when you're talking about radio, that was exactly it. What they did, and this is a bad dubbing job. It's not just in casting. And I think why not just cast some English-speaking Norwegians to do it? There alone, you'd be better. But I think what happened here, what makes it worse than it is, yes, we did need a Norwegian.
Yes.
Several of them. and we needed them in the voice booth. But going back to this, and hopefully my buddy will join us next week or the week after. They didn't even mix it properly. There were some where it's just literally just the voice from the booth, and all they did is they dropped the volume level of the mix and just plunked it there. So you're forever kind of going, am I in the booth? What am I hearing? You know, so you don't get any of that. They didn't mix it. Like, to do a good dubbing job is expensive, and it has to be done. It can't just be tacked on later. You know, if you really are taking your dub seriously, hopefully you can do it while they're actually mixing and editing the film and doing the dialogue edit and everything. Because then all of a sudden, heck, you would not know that they did it all in ADR, that they did it all in the booth, because it would be mixed with the right room tone, everything. No, this was slapped on later. And even like some of the stuff, it's like, did the actors get any direction? And I doubt they got minimal direction. And sometimes it was weird. Like, it was just like, okay, everyone's basically calling it a castle, except in the dub where they're forever referring to it as the Golden Palace, which drove me absolutely up the wall. But yeah,
I think slot is the word in Norwegian.
Well, and the best translations I could find is that's castle. They're searching for a castle, not a palace. And also you see it in all their communication. When you go to the MAPO, the producers, the production company's website, and they have they translated their own stuff. Like, it's not just some, Google Translate. And when you pick their English site, it's castle, so I think they're, and what's really frustrating here is they could have, and by they, I'm not sure who to blame. Maybe it's the company that bought the North American rights to the product, or it could be Prime Video. But you've got the Norwegian version, which I found. It's got Norwegian dialogue, etc., the proper mix, and Norwegian subtitles, or you get the shitty English one with English subtitles. I'm like, really? You couldn't have just, like you did with the other movie? Like, yes, we can pick the crappy audio, but and it's just so not just lazy, but it was like, wow, that's cheap and lazy, and it's tough, because I do think I watched the first one. I really enjoyed it. It had a charm. It's not by no ways a perfect, look at this.
We got some captive viewers here today. That's awesome.
I actually know this woman, Ms. Zandal, is a Norwegian expatriate living here in Winnipeg.
Okay.
I'm really thinking I might have violated a bit of privacy there. Please forgive me. But at the same time, she is saying she's got other Norwegians that could have dubbed this. Yeah. We could do the fan dub.
She's even got the Norwegian flag in her avatar, which is
yeah. That's so
pretty patriotic.
It is actually this is fascinating. Like, I'll try and get over my what a crappy dub. Briefly, it is.
Well, there's
actually Norway. Go ahead.
Let me just touch on something there. Is that on the settings? So we watched this on Amazon Prime.
Not yet, Jamie.
And it didn't allow you to have English subtitles and the Norwegian speaking. So that what I ended up doing was I had English subtitles and the English voices. And interestingly, they were different at times.
Of course they were. Now, mind you, we ran into that at the Wave, though, didn't we?
Yeah. And so there was some slight, I think one of the about a third of the way through when they're about to embark on their journey, and they go through that, it's sort of a Lord of the Rings moment. They go into that canyon, and the rest of the soldiers say, "I'm out of here." And one of the lines was, "Is that the best you got? And is this the best soldier we have?" So there was a slight difference, but it really, even on that trailer, the way they say, like, any inflection that any of the actors are going to do with their voice, even the princess, they were saying Soria Moria, which is supposed to be this magical place. So they're going to say it a little bit differently. They sort of said it delicately, and boy,
like it has some
seeing that trailer again made me realize how much you lose in not hearing the actual language.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and even like I've got another one where I'll play it later, or maybe this is the right time. There's another. I got the trailer off of Mapo, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't know. Mapo. I really need to speak to Ms. Andal. You know what? It's funny.
You'll get a cease and desist letter.
But it's only later that it's like, oh, I really should have reached out to these folks. She would have been great on this. But if you watch the one on their website had no subtitles, fine by me. And you get, first of all, it's interesting because the YouTube videos certainly very much kind of a family friendly, playing more on the humor of it all than say some of the adventure, some of the drama, right? But I'm wondering, like there's also, though, you get meaning even without the subtitles. You kind of get the idea of what's going on. And fighting over those subtitles, fighting over the dub and the bad mix, because it's not just the dub, it's not just the casting, the direction, it's also that bad mix, that bad, kind of folding the recorded audio into the rest of it properly, that you're fighting so much that it's forever taking you. It's always you're fighting to maintain your suspension of disbelief. And especially because I watched the other one with the Norwegian and the subtitles, I got into it. I liked these characters. I know how they sounded, and I'm like, I'm like feeling bad for the actors because I'm like, this is not doing you justice. you know? And what's still a pretty light kind of fun little film, So.
And they both held their own. I thought they were both good as leads, and
And it does, like, I mean, moving past the dubbing thing and excuse me, terrible belch. Moving past the dubbing thing and that, I do think there's some what's the word I'm looking for?
Good,
problem
bad.
With what?
Good, bad. I was going to help you out there.
Yeah, I don't know. Fudge. Oh, yeah. No, I can't remember now. I really can't. I'm totally lost.
You're thrown.
Okay, let's go back. Assume it was a great
Let's go back to Danes. Don't you hate Danes?
Well, now that's maybe where, because I think even like Icelandic cinema is the same. Like there's this, or Icelandic, no, not Iceland. Smila's Sense of Snow. Do you remember? This is a movie years ago. I read the book. Yeah. And the lead character, she's, if memory serves, half Dane, and half Greenlander. And
that's unforgivable.
Oh, my brain is buffering. Yes. Yes, it is.
It's called being in your 30s, Jelly Duck.
Yeah, 30s. Yeah, 30s. But I think there's that sort of resentment. It seems the Danes, because you can even see it in Iceland, in Icelandic cinema. This kind of subtle tension about their former overlords, which I believe was Denmark. Oh, I'm sure they all had their chance, the Swedes, whoever, know. But
depending on the map, Greenland still is referred to as like Danish territory. That's
yeah. Well, it still is. Yeah. Well, remember Trump wanted to buy it, and apparently not off the Greenlanders.
Oh yes.
It was all part of. It would have just been part of the whole chattel of the property, I guess. God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're moving into a little politics there. Okay, let me see if I can't find some of this, some of that history. Denmark and Iceland. I want to say, yeah, it was like a. Yeah, no, okay. Achieved home rule in 1874. Oh, much like Canada, you know. And then unite, but still sovereign, united in 1918 with Denmark under a common king, and then 1944 it was basically just. I love the way they put it. In 1874, Denmark granted Iceland a constitution and limited home rule.
Those Danes.
Just, what the hell? Now, Norway, because I think it's still the same thing. There's some imperial, because every country thinks it can rule the world.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. It was in a union with Denmark between 1524 and 1814.
That stuff is really, I've been studying Scandinavia as a potential travel destination in the next 5 years or whenever we're allowed to travel again. And there was a Finnish civil war, like within the last 100 years, things that I had no idea about. And there's a lot of, it's almost like the rest of Europe where there were little tiny kingdoms and they eventually sort of amalgamated into bigger nations,
the Bismarcks of their area.
But there's parts of Finland that are like a quarter Swedish speaking and that sort of thing. So there's a lot. And for me, one of the sort of the interesting subtexts of this movie is just that sort of national tension between and they don't even mention Sweden, but there's one mention of Finland, and there's the whole thing where
because the Danes got the name wrong.
Yeah, the bandit queen is making, or the whoever, the Oland or Olman, her name was the lead antagonist. She was making fun. She said, "What do you call this? And what do you call this? Such silly names." But there's wherever you go in the world, generally a country has a problem with its neighbors to some extent, whether it's sort of good-natured ribbing or sort of a deeper-seated sort of anger, or maybe some colonial issues like Japan taking over Korea. And you're struck by this. You just think of them as Scandinavia as a whole, but of course they're several different sovereign nations. So at this point in time, anyway.
Now that was what was the woman's name again? She played the
Olman, Olman.
I can't find her in the cast list. It's kind of driving me crazy.
It might be Olman. Yeah, I don't think she's on.
It's because she's it'll be one of those sexist kind of.
Witch or something?
Well, no, sometimes, we talked about this before. The credits, and it's like, there was a woman in that movie. She's in the poster. But you can't find her in the top three credits.
See here it's Ohlmann.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
she's Danish.
Okay. Sidzi Knudsen. Sidzi Babette Knudsen. Ooh, like Babette's Feast.
Yes, there you go. Which was a Danish movie, I believe.
Scandinavian movie.
Yes, and so a Dane plays a Dane. So that's quite interesting.
Well, now is that part of it? Oh, here, Jim. Is that part of? Oh, I didn't want to do that. Sorry, everybody. Now
my juggling lessons are going to pay off soon. Welcome to my study.
I'm thinking about that tension, and that reminds me, though, of some of the things. So the Danes are presented
as... That's Darth Vader's autograph.
The Danes were presented as, thuggish, yeah, but in a kind of like the Norwegians, especially the court, very foppery and foppy and snooty and over elegant, whereas the Danes were like, just smelly thugs.
There's some class stuff going on there.
Well, but here's the thing, though, is that's almost in. I saw this. Have you had a chance to watch the first movie in this? trilogy.
No, I didn't have.
Worth watching. And
Still got to do my
not
taxes.
yeah, you got lots of time. They'll extend that again. But if you
But
look
Rob said you'd extend it.
But what you see in this is what's the word I'm looking for, Jim? What you see in this movie is almost a flip of what happened. Because in the last movie, I'm pretty sure okay, first of all, in the last movie, the royals were a lot more down home and were presented to the visiting prince. They're like, oh, we're basically dealing with peasants. They're all peasants. And so there was a tonal like kind of flip in this. And I was like, you know what? I get that they probably were thinking they had to do it to set up the whole conflict where the brothers, Per and Paul, get caught up in a conspiracy, unwitting co-conspirators. But that they were, the patsies. But that it was really kind of one of those things where I did, notwithstanding the dubbing, I was like, really? I just saw the other movie. It wasn't that far ago. When did they become this snooty people because in the first movie they are played, the king and queen are played to be a lot more regular, like first amongst equals, versus this kind of, we're all so highbrow and our court is so highbrow and, English elitism, kind of class elitism.
Basically, it's Mar-a-Lago in Norway. Yeah.
Well, and that's because it wasn't that in the first movie. And even things like, and really there's some comedy, and I think unintentional. I don't know. Maybe we could get the director on here one of these days. But Jim,
there's one Norwegian film director. He's like Ernst Kirsch and SCTV. They had one playwright for all the shows, and he is chained in the basement.
Exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, this is good. But like it at the beginning, do you think she'll remember us? Why did we get invited to the party? So I don't know. The three of you saved her life. And you all look pretty much identical. Yeah, you finally finished your dad's house, but otherwise, there's no difference. I think she'd remember that. You saved her life from a troll. And then later on, again, all within the first act, the mother and father, the father's side, the father of Kristin, the king, decides, who invited these peasants? It's like they're the three who saved your daughter from the troll. Like, what? Like, it really is. Like, I mean, there's that kind of thing where I didn't know where that was coming from. And, but I was like, okay, well, we'll just get past this. I really just want to see Espen and Kristin go on their adventure, Which,
my wife watches a show called during the afternoon, and sometimes I join her, called Medium, and it's Patricia Arquette, and she's a psychic, and she helps. It's okay. It's actually not it's a pretty interesting show. And because she's a psychic, she's got sort of a very tenuous hold on her position. She's a consultant for the Phoenix Police Department.
It's my camera.
She has solved about 100 murders for them. And then the next episode will come up and they'll go, really? That sounds kind of... How much more does she have to prove to you guys? Like, in this one, at the very end, the king says, "Oh, I see how much you've done for our kingdom again."
Yes.
Are they going to forget it next time? Like, is it just?
But even then, and then still to his wife, yeah, she's not marrying that peasant. That's not good. It's just puppy love. And it's like, they've had these two big adventures together now. They're actually getting to know each other, which I think is kind of cool. But also, and I didn't do as deep a dive as I thought, but it looks like this Ashlad, Espen Askeladen, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, the there's like there's a ton of these stories of him in adventures, and it very much follows a kind of fairy tale tropes. He's not a simpleton, he's actually clever, but kind of a different, but walks to the beat of a different drummer, but kind, sort of kind, clever, sweet, always helping people. Like he's just, he kind of fits that style of simpleton hero. And I was like, but apparently that's like it's a big thing in Norwegian folklore, like just a kind of a go-to character.
Yeah.
And so I was really kind of like a perfect character for this kind of story. And again, going back to that, oh, well, off to save the princess again, or now me and the princess are going to go have an adventure. And then you can actually see, like, not the first kiss BS, it's not Disney here. And I thought that was kind of sweet. And by the end of the movie, you are like, it is, their charm does come through, and their acting chemistry comes through, so I'm buying that,
Yeah. Off to save the princess, or as I call it, Wednesday. I just pulled up the Wikipedia page here, and some of the titles about Ashlad, who stole the troll's silver ducks, coverlet, and golden harp. Ashlad, who competed with the troll, and just sort of goes on.
There's as Jelly Duck is saying, many trolls.
Yes, yeah. They're all Danish. It's the T word. No, that's getting a little weird there, but yeah. Well, and so here's my question for you, and I've been you're always prepared with questions for me. My question for you: who was, in that we both found it somewhat charming in places. Who's the audience for this? Is it kids? Is it older kids? Is it preteens? Is it just family fare? Like, do they need,
I think that's exactly what it is. I think it's Norwegian family fare. Like it did have a theatrical release in Norway.
Yeah.
I think though that is what and it was released in it says August on the credits, but I think it actually didn't get released until the fall. Here, one second.
Of last year. Well, that's different countries too. Yeah. But I mean, and I can see there's a few sort of, getting hitting the jewels kind of jokes and that kind of like, boy, I sure am hungry. And then, hey, cake, let's eat. And then there's the execution scenes, and there's
no.
We're gonna
put you in a barrel of nails.
Barrel of nails. I actually looked that up. I did
paid it off. We actually got to say, hey, there's the barrel of nails.
Nobody got. You should have put Sven in there, and just. But I actually looked that up. I was like, barrel of nails execution. Yeah, and what I came up with was gave me Catherine Wheel, and which seems like a really weird thing, and also the Iron Maiden. Which
there was an age limit of 9. Anyone younger than 9, I guess, or 9 and younger. Oh, and it did premiere at the end of like August 23rd is when it premiered in Norway.
That's
but
Troll
I
Day.
do. I think you know what it reminded me of, Jim. Back to your question about who it's for. I do. I think it's family fare, but think 70s. What it really reminded me of was 70s Disney. Think
a little dark, some dark stuff, like not entirely.
I mean, I'm not like, I'm thinking, Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. Okay, maybe that's not 70s, a little 60s in there with the Nazis. But Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the Apple Dumpling Gang, like, I mean, that kind of, I think it's got that kind of vibe. Jeez. A little darker, but not, I don't know. You know what? I think
there Nazis in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks? Is there Nazis in that?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. The Germans come into the, whatchamacallit? Well, I'll see if I can't find it on in a second.
Evidently, some of the Disney animators wanted presentation, representation.
There we go. He agrees with his family, but yeah, I thought it was a family friendly movie. You know what? And the execution and even the gore, that's very fairy tale. You know, like, I mean, you look at some of the and
I
more
guess so.
along the kids thing. Like, I mean, because you notice they acknowledge sex, but not. Yeah, it's still pretty. I would say, yeah, it would appeal to the 10-year-old in me.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm so used to this like really easygoing family fare that they do out of the States these days, where you don't have.
Yes, you
I mean,
are.
there was a couple boob jokes. There was getting a hits and the nuts joke, and there's execution, and there's a few other. There was a couple almost horror scene kind of darker moments.
But yeah, I think you're being too like they're not. Like, yeah, only dark compared to North American. We have to have too much. Like, I mean, North American family fare, which is so watered down until okay, off you go to the theater, 13-year-old, to go watch comic book and war violence. I don't. I really didn't find it like if you compare it to movies we could watch in the 70s, and I'm talking about the whole range. I don't think it was that bad.
How about Watership Down? that was wash your eyeball, kids.
Yeah.
Bleeding Rabbits. They should just call it Bleeding Rabbits and see how well the box office
Do you
would have
remember
done.
the Plague Dogs?
Holy cow! Yeah, I've watched.
Not sure what
Watership Down this past.
Saying here, but what's it say?
You know what?
Again?
I don't. Umi or Jillian?
No, or Adam. I don't like calling you Adam. Oh yeah, fart jokes. They had fart jokes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Yeah, I watched Watership Down, and my daughter caught a few minutes of it with me, and it's bleak. Like the weather's bleak, the music's bleak. It's all sort of washed out. I think
Do you
it's.
remember the Ralph Bakshi one? I think it was Ralph Bakshi who did that, and the Plague Dogs. Oh, just dark and depressing.
Yeah.
Although at least the Plague Dogs ends so down. But at least there's that moment at the end where Buddy does get to go to the fox, or no, the smart hare. Their godlike hair.
Watership Down. I thought you were talking about Plague Dogs. Yeah. And I think they've recently done another series on it too. But that's some pretty dark. I mean, the voice talents of John Hurt and things like that. But I think Ian McKellen too, or somebody like that. But anyway, that's a whole other kettle of fish. I mean, it almost took its. There was one comment on IMDb that was interesting. It was I tried to the person who was GGT667, just so I'm not stealing this quote, said that they tried to introduce another category to movies, and that would fall under folklore, and that was sort of an interesting point, I thought, because it's not, it's.
Say that again, like repeat that. I'm sorry.
They were trying to enter. I think they were trying to do something with the database or something, and said that this should fall under the category of folklore, but they didn't have a folklore category. So I thought that was kind of an interesting comment anyway. Because there's not a lot of movies like as a kid, never-ending story type of thing. But there's not a lot that are like this, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. No, I think, again, but let's go back to not a lot like this in North American fare. Although, and I wonder if we looked at maybe like the Dark Crystal, like just even some of the that little old lady that he always goes to, which is again another great fairy tale trope,
with the nose that kept on getting stuck in crevices and things.
Yeah, and then she's basically literally moss. Like moss is growing on her. She gets stuck, and the moss, the lichen, just keeps growing on her. But I think that again, another thing where that's what these characters, that's what these archetypes do. They've established a relationship, which is how he's able to say early on in the movie, I know the way. Well, he doesn't really know the way, but he knows the way to somebody who knows the way to someone else, I think again, back to your, it's family. It's just a more mature European family. I think but now is the Dark Crystal. It would be interesting to watch, say, compare some of these other things that are now coming out on streaming. I don't know if any of that kind of thing's been done on HBO, but definitely, take a look at some of these other streaming services that are bringing, like in Netflix and the Dark Crystal, and maybe take a look at that series, the Watership Down series on Netflix. Or is it a series, or they didn't do it as a series?
I think it's a series. I think it's like 4 or 6 parts or something like that. Yeah. Again, this is funny too, because with these things, you think, I should research this ahead of time, but you don't know what you're going to end up talking about, right? It just sort of veers into that. So you have to sort of know about everything.
Yeah. Well, I think there definitely are. And you know what? Once the Jelly Duck, once the Norwegians make a movie about a different character, we'll be reviewing it.
What? One thing I was gonna. Well, what did you had advocated for this movie? What it was was it the first one that interested you, or
it was the first one that won me over? And I was like, oh my god, there's another one, awesome! Because Jim, I liked the characters. I did. I liked the appropriate romantic tension between the two leads. Yeah. They are very charming together. They're but I liked the rest of them. I was glad that there was only two actual cast changes. I didn't like the tone of the way they changed the tone, because I really strongly recommend watching it's Ashlad in the Hall of the Mountain King.
There you go.
That's the first one in, I guess, this trilogy. I really recommend to anyone to watch it with the subtitles. It has a charm, including in court. Like, I mean, every time they're moving around, like there's no
dead time,
there's no dead time, there's no lame, I don't want to be around these characters.
There's momentum.
Momentum and charm. Like, you're just kind of like, I like these people, I like these ones, I like, and that's what I think I liked. But I also did enjoy, I like when the fairy tale is more like, and there's been a lot of analysis of even Grimm's fairy tales, the brothers' collection was not that grim. Ha! Should get points for that. But but it really wasn't as dark as, and a lot of great analysis of, it depended. They'd all tell the same. There's fairy tales, and that's very much a Victorian thing, where all of a sudden in the Victorian era, children and adults started to become separated. And in the way they were, this is a child and they have to be protected, whereas here's an adult ready for the real world. And then, and further divvied up on gender, whereas, 50 years before that, there's like, they'd tell that story. And if it was at night with no kids around, all of a sudden Rapunzel's pregnant. And there's the real issue of the witch coming back. I gave you slut.
Yeah.
And then the kids, it's a different thing. Like, they kind of customize it. And there's even a lot of good historiography about how, a lot of those stories, when they were told to the Brothers Grimm, were probably, this is a middle-class German, good Lutheran, like, how much of the storytelling where they're like, can't go too far. But even there, like, you look at some of the gruesome deaths. Like, I think the sisters, Cinderella's sisters, like, first of all, hacking off their toes so they could fit in the like hacking their own toes off so they can fit in the slipper. Then I think when one way they were killed was that their feet were sealed in red hot cast iron shoes, and they kind of ran around until they were dead. Like, I mean, it's, that's a thing.
Well, the other thing about Grimm's is that
seeing the barrel and the barrel of nails, it was like, oh, they're wonder if they'll show us the barrel of nails.
With Grimm's, there's also a couple of things that have come out that I've sort of stumbled across in the last few years, is where the use of stepmother, was before somebody got to them, was mother, right? So you can, if you say, well, the mother's evil, that's way scarier than having this interloper come into the situation to be antagonistic against the children. So somebody got to them.
Well, and now it's starting to change back again, because to demonize the stepmother in a land, like in a world where divorce is a regular thing, is now seen as well, it's inappropriate. Like, I mean, it's not, and I don't mean they should just keep it the way it was. Like it's appropriate to just the reality we live now. To demonize the stepmother nowadays is like, what the hell? What? Yeah. But 50, 60 years ago, stepmother, that's fair game, because there's that such a society taboo around divorce. And 150 or 200 years ago, well, that's how you got divorced. Somebody died, and another person died, and the other two is kind of, divorce. I was about to kill him, and then he just up and had a heart attack. Death. I remember reading a thing on a way too deep a dive on the Salem witch trials, of all things, and one there's just kind of giving the sociological context of the time, and just as an aside, say, well, in these times is referred to in in a whole bunch of references, academic references. Death did then what divorce does now, because a lot of relationships, especially in the colonies, were not that long, because a woman died in childbirth, or it's an older man who just up and dies of a heart attack, or disease rolls through, and everyone's fair game for the Grim Reaper.
Or you die when you're 40.
Well, that's exactly it. You're 40 and you have a heart attack.
80 is the new 40.
Yeah.
This is aquavit, by the way. I'm just straight up drinking it.
I have this nonsense because my ghetto store, my ghetto shop does not have still out of bubbly water, so I'm drinking Compliments Fizzy Peach, and it is sweetened with sucralose and acesulfame potassium.
That's the stuff. There you go.
Oh yeah,
tastes like summer. So with this
summer at DuPont.
Exactly. These chemicals remind me of the summers of my youth.
Well, here's Jelly Duck. I'm fine with the sequel. I love the sequel. What I don't like is the dubbing. This is just sad at the moment. Exactly. Sorry, go ahead.
You should be given the choice. You should be given the choice, because and I've brought it up before when we watched my wife and I watched Let the Right One In, the Swedish one. It started off as dubbing, and I just immediately it just brought me right back to all those bad SCTV skits where they did they did French dubbing, and they did a version of the German submarine movie Das Boot, and they called it Das Boobs. Of course, which is actually a little more juvenile than they're used to, because they were pretty smart. But I don't think Monty Python used the word boobs once. Maybe they did. I don't know. But anyway, but it's all that terrible thing. It's that talking like this, I tell you, and it's just that sort of forced, that doesn't really capture what the rest of it. And you become aware of how important voice is,
And again, I go back to, there is a reason. This is a perfect example of why you can get, why the sound department has multiple Oscars in that category. They're all there. Jim, did you, I put it on I posted it on your thing.
Yes, I totally, I was going to I'm going to watch this later, and then I will watch a Jelly Duck tonight, as soon as we get off the air here.
There you go.
Rob watched it, though. He's a better video YouTube friend than I am.
It was the Japanese component. But back to your we were talking about the importance of sound. Yeah, the Lucas line, the audience is listening. I think in this, once the producers went to the dubbing crew and they say, hey, remember the audience is listening, and they went, yeah, I don't care. Who cares? But it does. It's why mixing is a separate thing. When you're taking in all those disparate sound tracks and you're putting it together so it's a cohesive whole that, again, is all about helping the audience suspend disbelief. And, at every mistake that takes you out of the movie, and it's just so hard to stay in then, eh? And yeah, I agree. It was the only thing that kept me going. Actually, the only thing that kept me going. Any other time, I really got to get my camera on a more solid footing, because every time I move my table, it shakes. But
just pretend it's
I don't have a drug problem. I'm not
Jacinta Ardern earthquake.
And we'll talk about that later. But it is so hard to get back into it, and this was the only reason I could finish it. I kind of did. I still had in my mind my understanding of how these characters actually spoke, and I was like, well, sooner or later they're going to get into the adventure, and they do. They move through that first act quite quickly. No extra scenes, really. They just kind of, time to get a move on. And then I was like, okay, I can kind of get over this, and I want to let this go. But also because I committed to the show, and I wouldn't have much to say other than whining about bad dub if I didn't finish the movie.
Exactly. There was one section in the middle where the brothers escape their jail for a bit, and then they're recaptured. And I sort of wondered what the point of that was, if only to give them something to do, but because it ultimately just get captured again fairly easily and get thrown back into jail. But there's a couple things that I sort of wanted to ask you about.
If we actually saw. If we heard
the cut?
It all, there may be more, or maybe it made more sense. It was better sold because you're already in it. Yeah, that's the thing. You're taken out of the movie. It's so easy to question everything. But
shave 15 minutes off.
It may have been an extra. It may have been there may have been some fat that wasn't required, or it could have also been just hey, we have to take. I don't know. Anyway.
It's the Jeff Bezos edit. He's a micromanager. He's like, he wants 15 minutes off this movie. Just take it out of the middle. I don't know. So a couple things. Since the Lord of the Rings movies are now, I don't know how old they are, 15, 16 years old. I see tons of Lord of the Rings imagery in a lot of these types of movies, and even movies that I don't quite expect to see Lord of the Rings imagery in. So we were watching bits of Moana the other day, and Tafiki, the island goddess, looks totally like the thing that Gandalf faces, the Balrog.
Yeah,
there's she's like a flame lava creature.
Movie. Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's just so good. That's right up there.
Outstanding film.
Oh, and then the music and everything's great, and the little Bowie tribute and Jermaine Clement doing the crab is just. I could watch that movie over and over and over. I saw it, and I'm lucky enough, for the people who don't know, to have a daughter that I could take to that, and we just walked out of that, and I think I wore a Hawaiian shirt there to embarrass her. But anyway, part of the joy of being a parent. We just saw some Saturday matinee before the Oscars that year, and we were just like, yeah. And she's a big Lin-Manuel fan too, and you could totally tell his talents were at work. But anyway, so yeah, Lord of the Rings imagery in that. I saw tons of it in here. To that, and I'm sort of wondering, has Lord of the Rings changed the way these types of movies are made? I mean, there was a little rock bridge over that was very sort of shaky looking, and there's a little bit of a drone kind of shot. There was several other shots that I thought, man, this is that when they're just about to set off on their adventure. There's a little sort of a crevice in the rock that they're going to go through, and that reminded me of when Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas are about to pair off to get the army of the dead. There's tons of stuff, and I see it all the time. Anyway, so to that end, do you ever feel like you're watching this and whatever you're watching comes across as a little derivative?
I'm going to say,
or is that harsh?
I'm going to say yes and no, actually. Well, and maybe not derivative, but I am going to say, like, first of all, yeah, you do see that influence. Of course, the snarky jerk that I am, I'm like, and it was there in their first film, and I think I made a smart remark about it, about The Wave, the other Norwegian film we've taken a look at, and I was like, oh, and there's their New Zealand style, their New Zealand style tourism photos of, the greatness and natural beauty of Norway. And the drone, I think that's just, hey, we've got a drone now, we can do this kind of thing. Yeah. I didn't think it was terrible. I don't think. No,
just the bridge itself. Like, I'm just saying, it's not so much the use of the drone, but just the bridge was one of the things just off the top of my head that I remembered.
Yeah. Well, and but this is exactly what I'm saying, Jim. And like, there's some of it is, yeah, you can see that influence, but some of it's also because they can, right? Like, I mean, a bit of that, and maybe the tough thing, and that's interesting. You bring up drones because, okay, the last drone production I did, the last drone shot I did for an actual, like a short film here shot in Winnipeg, it was, and me and Buddy were talking about it, and it's like, everyone talks about, like, people are getting bored of these things. Like, first of all, you can see them, you saw it, you knew what it was. And even this filmmaker, he was saying, you get people come up and say, hey, what'd you think of my, did you see the drone shot? And it's like, and he's like, who cares? You know what? How are you using it? How are you using that shot to, reveal character? And the scenery can be a character. I saw something recently. I saw a commentary about Moneyball and kind of going, wow, they made the statistics a character. But the scenery, the context, the world can be a character, but is it advancing? Is it revealing character or theme or advancing the plot? And a lot of these things, is it heightening tension? And I think sometimes you see these shots, and this is maybe the Lord of the Rings effect. Like, all these cinematographers and directors are influenced by that stuff. And it just becomes part of the standard grab bag of any filmmaker. Oh, and this is where we'll do this, and we'll establish the scene that way, and I think
you see it. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Jelly Duck, I had a Mavic 2 Pro. I had. Please underline had. That's a story for another day.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, you're sorry, Jim.
You see it a lot in sort of
our several fans happy.
You see it a lot in sort of documentary B-roll shots where they would normally have just like a car going down the street. Now they have a drone. Like if PBS does something on, I don't know, General Motors, they'll have the drone sort of like surveying the building or something like. You see it tons in documentaries. And there was another show that we were watching that used it a lot. I think it was Cardinal. I was watching the CTV show Cardinal, which was actually pretty good. The cop show set in Canada, and yeah, so I don't mind. And there were some good shots here. There was one where he woke up on the beach after their ship crashed or was blown up or whatever. And he washed up on some gorgeous Norwegian beach that had blue water, almost like a tropical beach. And there was an overhead shot, and
showing his isolation and
no. And it was apparently shot in an area called Bodo or Bodo, and BO with a line through it.
I'm not sure Firefly Andal is still with us.
But it was quite a. It was the scenery was amazing. Cool. Like, I think you're saying cool about your drone, but the very much the couple of the films that we've watched from Norway have been really come to Norway, like very much. I sort of used to joke
New Zealand. They might as well just call it the New Zealand tourism shot.
I used to joke back when all those murder mysteries and all those sort of stories that glorified the Southie character in Boston, where it was very, very trashy existence and very sort of, and just kind of
well, the when people are getting
gross.
sick of that over the top Brooklyn accent.
But it was
do the Southie thing.
And they would always make the families horrible and the people horrible, and they would, and I always used to joke with my wife that it was, brought to you by the Boston Chamber of Commerce, or the Boston, come to South Boston, enjoy a punch in the face, like. Come to the broken beer bottle tour. Watch your step. And but I'm like, that's not my experience. It's just you watch these things and you think, how does the state, how does the state give it funding? You're basically saying these places are horrible. Whereas with something like The Wave or these are shot in like amazing places and Ashland.
No one is caricatured. Whereas, and it was funny, you're talking about these accents. Another one that I found, like in what was otherwise just a brilliant movie, was Fargo, where I thought like that kind of northern Minnesota accent, where it was so dialed up, and I tell you, Jim, like we live in a neighboring, I've driven through Minnesota. We live in we're in a province. We're close neighbors. I'm like, that was the first I ever heard that accent.
In the movie.
The absolute first. And then there was a PBS thing like from, not WDAZ. What's the PBS station that you keep thinking I should advertise on? The North Dakota one?
Just Prairie Public, I think they call it. I don't know the call.
And I once heard where it was like somebody was talking about lutefisk, and I was like, oh my God, that's the Fargo accent. But even then, just for a couple
very
of words,
subtle.
and I was like, I gotta admit, I don't think that movie did Minnesota and Minnesotans any favors.
No. Well, it was about them. It's always good to see things from different. How many things do we see from New York, and how many things do we see from LA?
North Dakotans never even came here.
Zero. Super.
5 minutes.
Occasionally, you get something neat, like Happy Days. I think was set in Milwaukee, wasn't it? And Superstore, which is a current show, is set in St. Louis, rather. Obviously filmed in Los Angeles, but set in St. Louis. And I always appreciate that, seeing something set in a different area, even though it's not, filmed there. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I'm pretty sure is filmed in Los Angeles. They use that fake,
that's a back lot.
that fake New York town, that back lot. And I just think, oh god.
Yeah, well, they're always like super. It's like, wow, you found the smallest streets you could,
Yeah, exactly.
Even a Parisian would go, wow, that's a pretty crowded small street.
Yeah. But no, it's in terms of accent, the Fargo thing I thought it's almost like somebody creates something and then it's almost like the telephone game where it just gets more and more exaggerated the further down the line it goes.
Yeah.
And I suspect that's what it is. When the first George Bush first became president, you thought, oh, how are you going to do an impression of this guy? He's so bland. And, people found little holes in the armor and were able to do something with it. Dana Carvey et al. And, then it became its own
George
thing.
W. kept talking. And
this is the first one. This is his dad, back in 88, because he's just such a bland kind of guy, and he's got a vague kind of Southern accent, but he's very corporate.
He's got that not New England, that Brahmin.
Yeah.
Like New York upper class.
Sort of tones of other things too.
By his later life in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. What else did I wanted to play? There was a couple of things too. I thought the music was a little bit overwhelming in this. Like it would almost struck me as a 1950s kind of thing where there was like 400 strings every time somebody did something, and that it was a little bit heavy-handed for me.
Maybe maybe this is the time. Actually, I'm gonna play. Let me see if I can't find. Let me play the other thing, because I think that kind of speaks to what you're talking about, actually, Jim. Everybody, I'm going to play another trailer. This is good, no subtitles, but might be speaking to what. But I thought it was a great trailer, but definitely a different tone. Okay. So let's fade these out. Oh, excuse me, terrible belch, which is the exact.
Espen Askeland.
La oss heve glasset og utbringe en skål for bursdagsbarnet.
Hva er en kitte?
Kongen og dronningen drakk giften. Det finnes ingen motgift. Vent!
Har dere hørt om Soria Moria? Det er bygget rundt kilden til livets vann.
Vi må finne det slottet. Du har vært i dette slottet før?
Nei.
Hva er det blitt med på?
Vi må finne veien til Soria Moria slott.
Hvordan kan du motstå musikken?
Livets land.
Husker du fortsatt veien dit?
Østen for sol og vest.
Nei, vent. Vi må snu. Det var helt feil.
Skal vi så finde prinsessen?
Vi følger efter hende. Altså for hvert skritt du tar, så går du 7 mil.
Ja.
Er ikke det litt farlig?
Jeg får se på.
Kan vi holde til i hele verden? Hvordan får du det til? Vær så positiv hele tiden.
Espen, han fikser dette.
Alle gode ting er tre.
Det går bra!
So what were you saying, Yim?
I'd watch that movie. That was a much better trailer, by the way. That looked, yeah, I mean,
it is like
there's
it's
elements
a
of that
thrilling trailer. And I actually had to cut
yeah.
a little at the end to kind of make the size. I had to make it fit what I thought was a data limit on the overlays I can put in the streaming software. Never mind, that's way more than. We got
I just want to say, Holy Crackers is the one. It's a young actress who plays
Jelly Duck.
Kristin.
You got to watch the movie. That is motivated. Okay,
Yeah.
So the
the actress
going back to that music, I think though that's what you're talking about though, right? That
that was good. Like that was good.
Yeah.
It was almost those in between shots. If you ever watch a movie from the 1950s, there's like Grace Kelly, I think, won the Oscar for The Country Girl, I think it's called, and she's giving a speech and the strings are behind her, and then she walks 3 steps and the strings go bink bink bink, and like everything is keyed in. It's almost like she's harnessing some sort of special effect where every time she moves, something plays. And in this case, there wasn't a moment. And my thing, like letting something breathe a little bit. There wasn't a moment of silence. It's like going to a hockey game where it's just like oompa 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 the whole time. And so that was good. Like I quite enjoyed that. That was a pretty thrilling trailer, and I just seen the movie. So,
it's like, wow, I want to see that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
let's watch that next time. I didn't recognize that at all.
I want to go back to the. I want to go back because Jelly Duck's with us. He thinks it's a good trailer.
Yeah.
I think though, going back to Jim, what you're talking about there, about the music and tone and everything, there's still a part of me. It's like, who f***ed up the mix? You know what? I so badly want to see it. Like, and who knows? Maybe I admit. I might have, if I could have figured out how to, like I did. I've got a VPN. I'm like changing my country to Norway because I'm like, oh, maybe they'll still have English subtitles in Norway, and I can watch it as though I'm in Norway. Those jerks got now here. They're Bezos. Yeah, now Prime's totally locked down. You can can only watch it as though in your home country. You can only watch what's in your home country when you're in your home country. That's it. And it's like, oh, you bastards.
It was like when I for folks that don't know, I lived in Japan for a couple of years in the 90s, and they would play the occasional Toshiro Mifune movie, and I'd be like, okay, let's watch it. And then you realize, oh, no subtitles. Why not? But
if I could somehow get a hold of the Norwegian copy, I mean, in the end, all you need to do is just, as long as you can get the sync right, it's just putting here, I cut this part, put it right under, because the films are going to be identical. Look into that, because it would be interesting to watch it that way. Wonder if I could figure it out. Wonder if there's anybody out there on the interwebs that could help me get a copy of the. Well, maybe I'll just, I don't know. I'm gonna look.
Here's another international kind of thing. So the actress who plays Kristin, Eili Harboe. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was her character in The Wave. Yes. Anyway,
the hotel clerk, the co-worker of the mom. Anyway, holy crackers, she's got a great face for cinema. Like she's just and she's got presence, like, and she's
Garbo-esque. Her face
and
is
I can
Garbo-esque.
say that she's 25, and I checked. So there. Anyway. I was
nothing creepy there, Jim.
No.
But no, she's got a Garbo-esque face. Like, look at Greta Garbo, and it's the same kind of. It's that same kind of face. Yeah, no. She could have been a 30s, like a classic 30s.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and who knows? We'll have to see where she goes. Like, I mean, does she become like an Ingrid Bergman? Like, I mean, right now she's doing her time in this kind of stuff. which is still
Well-
pretty good, like top tier, European
Well,
film, I would say.
yeah.
And
She's not. I don't know if we've talked about this though, but she's in something that I don't know tons about it, but it's a show that HBO is offering in the States, and I'm not sure what tier of HBO, but it's not the Crave TV because I've looked, but it's a show.
Eili Harboe. Yeah.
It's a show called Be Foreigners, and it's about something happens and all these Vikings.
Company Orheim?
Huh?
Oh, never mind. Sorry, never mind.
So Be Foreigners, which is a good sort of a interesting title. All these Vikings start to emerge out of the sea in current day Scandinavia, and
of course,
and they try to not as antagonists, but they try to the powers that be have to figure out how to fit them into the population. So they become sort of temporal immigrants, and they got to find a place for them. And she's in this new show that I'm dying to see, and it's not offered in Canada, but I think it sounds fascinating. I'd just like to see how they tackle this stuff. And evidently,
it's called Be Foreigners.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And the main part about it is that a contemporary policeman is joins forces with a Viking recruit who's been a woman who's been hired by the local gendarmerie or whatever, and they sort of make an unlikely pair and solve murders and things like that. But you always got to break it. It's always solving crimes together. It's not a story unless you're solving crimes.
I know it's being played seriously, but
well, it's not. I don't know that it is. It seems to be like it's and they portray the Be Foreigners sort of like Star Trek would portray Klingons, like they're sort of this, very or like this movie showed dates.
I'm on their
bad dental work and questionable morals, and
which makes me think of Norsemen. Have you watched that on Netflix?
No.
It's a comedy, like a sitcom, set in probably be like late first millennia.
Who ate my puffin eggs?
Well, it's set in some Viking village, but it's a sitcom, and but they play it straight. They play it well, and it's all a sitcom like zany hijinks. No, I mean not zany, but
what's
set in that time. I want to say it's just called. I think it's called Norsemen.
Norsemen. Okay.
Well worth the watch. But now I'm on this thing. Okay.
It's
they are the first of many from the past to seek refuge.
Oh, sorry. So Eili, our Princess Kristin, is in that, but I think she plays a real sort of a washed out, sort of very drab looking character. I've only seen done a little bit of research on it, but I didn't realize she was in it. Yes.
Wait, are you talking about like in Be Foreigners, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And she's got some bonnet on, and yeah.
Okay. Some poor peasant.
Yes. Yes. Oh, maybe she.
Yeah, she doesn't look very like the lead. Oh, wait a second though. There's one in that Be Foreigners who I think was the love interest of Per, who brought the cake in.
Oh, there you go.
Ashlad.
Wow. It's like English TV. All these people work together all the time, just in different combinations.
Yeah. Well, you kind of. Oh yeah, and there. Okay, yeah, she looks like some poor Norwegian version of oh my goodness! It's like they came into the future to become Hutterites.
Yeah.
Like I'm here. I'll pull up. Let me share my screen here. Okay, share screen. Come on. There we go. There's the heroine of our hour. Apparently being not that, but All right. Well, we'll move into the north and continue to be, continue with our lives of back-breaking manual labor.
Yes.
And then, I guess maybe these are the cops.
Stills of the whole show, I think,
Okay.
or something. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm definitely gonna be. We're gonna check that out.
Check the trailer out.
Yeah, check the trailer out. All right. Well, my friend, we're coming up on yet another hour and a half because that seems to be our way.
There we go.
Why don't we briefly? Oh, look at this, the Norwegian version of Narnia.
Well, thanks for staying with us, Jelly.
Jelly Duck. Maybe he's watching the movie as he's listening to our BS.
No. He's multitasking.
Yeah, you know,
At 7 a.m.
Jelly Duck. Yeah, exactly. What's the time in Kuwait? Okay, so folks, let's talk about next week, and I'm not necessarily saying because we've got a couple. There's that Zombie on a Reserve.
Yeah, I'm sort of not sure where to find that. I did a real brief look.
I found it. We're gonna have to rent it on Google Google Play. That I think is or at least I found it there. You know what? Hoopla. I can never find anything on Hoopla. I think it's just got to be one of the worst services. Services.
I hate all those. The indexing for any of those is atrocious. So,
but at least you can search it and it comes up. Whereas I've searched stuff or tried to, I'll only use these two words, and I get terrible music choices. Then I say, no, I want movie, and then it still wants to push music on me. I'm like, I don't want to borrow your crappy weirdo music. But what else? Okay, so we got that. Here's another one, and it is on streaming. Quake.
Oh,
what is that? That's the sequel to The Wave.
What?
Yes, I know.
Those poor people.
Sequel, and it's the same family.
Holy
I
cow!
think the boy has a girlfriend now, but otherwise it's the same family, and they're same. Now they're. I know. I don't see honestly. And I'm looking for comments here from our peeps. I don't see how we can't not. Oh, look at this! It is 7 a.m. in Kuwait.
Oh,
apparently our stream. But we're getting a little bit of audio artifact. That does happen. I'm gonna blame YouTube or StreamYard or just in general the internet on that one. But yeah, Quake. Or it could have been just I was getting so excited about Quake, just to tell you, Jim, that I'm shaking the table.
It transfers to the screen.
But seriously, like, that has to be on our list. Doesn't have to be next week, but I don't see how we couldn't.
Oh, definitely,
watch.
yeah. I'll be there.
So we could have like the exactly. Oh, and then what we will do is I'll reach out to look at this. Oh, look here. He's Richard's look at that. The sequel. It's a must watch. Yes, and Richard and Katie. Oh, Jelly Duck's into Richard and Katie actually watched The Wave the other day. And apparently they bought our take on it. But they can chime in on the chat themselves or look at this. Tremors down their spine. All right. Well, definitely the Quake sometime soon. Maybe not next week, but sometime soon. We've got that other one. The what was that called again? Blood Requiem. Blood. Something. There's blood involved. There was blood.
Yeah.
It is on my watch list on one of the streaming services.
We should probably come up with a. Just bear with me 1 sec here. Blood Quantum.
Blood Quantum. Thank you.
Yes. Blood Quantum of Solace.
So Blood
James
Quantum
Bond makes
sure.
it to
Quake. I'm going to be,
you're cutting out a bit.
And if we're gonna do, I'm like, honestly, really troll from the end. It's really Blood Quantum.
Blood Quantum, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Which is what you just always been for our one rounds. And what else has been thinking? I think I would like to dive classic, at North American or foreign, but you know what? There's what was something? Oh, I'm having a hard time now. Fudge. Bear with me. Bear with me, my. Okay. Let's see if I can. Scrolling through goes to the Netflix. I think I saw something.
So, is this something that you're looking for? Or?
Yeah. No, I can't remember what it was, but those ones. Oh, I can't believe I haven't watched.
Well, you can text me later. We'll figure it out.
Well, then, folks, thank you all.
It sounds. It sort of sounds. Well, it sounds like you're on auto tune. It almost sounds like you're singing.
You know what? Okay. You know what that is? It's a digital artifact, and that's all the streaming service or YouTube. It's probably the streaming service, and this is what
I can hear you now.
Like, I gotta figure out, Jim, and you know what? Well, I'll save this bit of nonsense for after the broadcast. But what I will do is I'm going to ask Jim to stick around. But everyone else, folks, thank you all so much for coming. And
yeah, thanks, folks.
I think what I'll do now is it's time to send us out in an appropriately
thanks, Jelly Duck. Thanks, Richard Katie. Thanks, Norwegian lady.
Yep.
Good night, Norwegian lady. Good night, room. Good night, desk. Good night, 2-liter bottle of aquavit.
Yeah, absolutely. All righty. Thanks, Jelly Duck.